Hey everyone, it is almost the middle of December here. We're just exiting the first week of December. And we here on the farm typically are zone 6B, 7A. We flip flop. East Tennessee is a fun place to be. We have one end of our property that is definitely leans more 7A, and we have one part of our property that definitely leans more 6B. And by that I mean we're right here in the border of the temperatures, and when we look at what we grow, we have to consider where we're planting it on the property. So in the middle of winter, we're limited on what we can grow. This winter has been weird. We started out with some early freezes and some heavy frosts, light frost first and then some heavy frost. And we've had several freezes, but this week we're in the 50s and 60s. Go figure. So what I want to talk to you about today is growing food in the winter. There's a million ways to do it. There's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of things that you can do that we don't do. And if you got some suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. We're glad to talk to people. We're glad to hear what you've got to say. Maybe you do something better, and we would love to see it. Now, we use some crop covers to extend our season and to make this stuff easier to grow in the winter. The other reason is it makes it easier to harvest and plant in the winter. Now, ideally, we love to come into winter with all of these crops planted. They're already at mature height or mature size, or nearly at mature size, because things are going to grow much, much, much slower in the winter. So don't panic though if you don't. Some things will still grow in the winter. Now, we start these inside. We actually start them in our house. We have a bookshelf in the living room that has been converted to a seed starting shelf. And for some other crops, we've got other ways of doing it. But for what we're talking about today, these will just go on a shelf under light. So today what we're working with is lettuce. Salad mix, lettuce, stuff along those lines. Yesterday I planted a tray of Tom Thumb, and that is a mini Bibb lettuce, small, real nice lettuce, great for making a personal salad. Take the whole head of lettuce and add what you want to it, and it makes a nice personal salad. Now, if you're not a huge salad eater, you can get 2 or 3 salads out of one of these, but for someone who really just wants a big bowl of salad, well, it's not big. That's why it says mini. This is a great one to go with. And then we did some other mini Bibbs. These are from Johnny's. We did a Newham. Now, this first one is from, you couldn't tell by the package, this is Baker Creek Rare Seeds. We've been growing Tom Thumb for years. Tom Thumb does not like heat. Let me tell you, it's not one to grow in heat. It will bolt really fast. But we have these are our 3 mini Bibbs. I planted these yesterday also. So we have a Newham, or Newham, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And that is a green mini Bibb, so it's very similar to the Tom Thumb, even though they're different. And then we have a Roseanne, which is a dark red mini Bibb, just absolutely stunning. And you can check these out on Johnny's website. And then we have and I definitely cannot pronounce this, a Segalaine, which is a bronze mini Bibb. So, and that, to me, that's even more stunning than the red. You get such a nice blend of greens and reds and bronze colors and burgundies. It's really a really pretty lettuce. So what we have is the ability to grow lettuce for our family locally. Now, we're doing this for our CSA customers, for our family. It feeds us, it feeds them, so we can help feed the community. And while I'm talking to you, I'm peeling my tape off the side of the tray from the last crop that was in here. But this, we can feed a lot of local families this way, and feed our family. And not that things can't happen, but my lettuce has never been recalled. So keep that in mind. You know, how often have you seen a local lettuce supplier have to recall a crop because of salmonella poisoning? Now, it can happen, and this is where you want to know your farmer. And folks, that's a whole nother subject, and I may do a video on that at some point. But get to know your farmer. Get to know your local farmer. Take advantage of what they offer that allows you to get to know them, whether it's a local farmer's market that you can come buy off of them and enjoy their products, and make sure you always have your water. So this, back to subject, but anyway, get to know your farmer. This is not the normal medium I would be planting this into. We have our normal, well, actually we're switching this year, but we have our seed starting mix on order, and this is one that I normally use for heavier stuff, stuff that's already started. But we've been using this and it'll work. It's our Daddy Pete's Pete Light. It's a little heavy for starting seeds in, but it works. The lettuce is doing pretty good in it so far, so we're going to continue with it. But growing your lettuce, before we get into planting, allows you to be more independent of the food supply chain, which we all know is a fragile system. That was proven during the pandemic and still is going on now. And I'm not trying to putting fear out there to anybody, because I don't believe in fear. I just believe, drop a pack of seeds. I believe in being ready for what comes at you. So being able to grow your own lettuce, and that goes further than lettuce, but lettuce, what we're talking about today, you know, this goes lettuce, spinach, kale, arugula, any greens, head lettuce, cut and come again lettuce. And if you can grow lettuce, you can probably safely be able to grow green onions. And if you don't know what green onions is, there's a video coming up on that. And there's all sorts of Chinese, what we call Chinese greens, tatsoi, bok choy, komatsuna. I mean, there's just tons of this stuff. So we'll start with lettuce, and we're going to work through a series of videos showing you things that you can grow in the winter with very minimal effort. Now, we put more than minimal effort in. We have a 14 by 100 foot Farmer's Friend tunnel. Check out the Farmer Friend site. They got some great products if you want something like that. We've also got two of the greenhouses we started with when we moved on to the farm. We bought probably not what we should have bought, but it's what we thought we could buy at the time. I probably should have bought one big one instead of two little ones. Well, bigger. But we have two twin wall polycarbonate, really nice greenhouses. I mean, super nice. You know, I went from doing some DIY stuff in my driveway at the old place to putting these up. So we were so tickled with them. We still love them. We just kind of think maybe we should have built something 4 times as big when we did that, probably for just a little bit more money. But these are 14.5 by, or 14 foot by 24.5 foot long. And we love them. But so we got those two to plant in, and we've got another one under construction and another one in the driveway. Now, by the other ones, I mean these are high tunnels that are going up. There'll be a video on that stuff coming up, on what we've went through and everything. So anyway, we're going to start with lettuce. So how we can be more independent with and feed quality food to our family. Now, if you don't want to do this and you're local to us, we're more than glad to sell you a CSA. We are more than, which is, if you don't know what a CSA is, we may do a video on that. But anyway, it's community supported agriculture. Years ago, it meant something different than what it means now. Most people are doing it quite differently, and I'll probably do a video talking about that to give you some details. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can get into some of this and how we market our CSA and why we do it. So we'll get to that. Okay, lettuce. So we just talked about what I did yesterday. Now I have some mini romaines here. And by mini, I mean these are smaller versions of their full-size version. Right here, the Paris Island is a full-size romaine type lettuce. And then we have our mini romaines from Johnny's. So right now what I'm going to be planting is going to not actually be the romaines, but I wanted to show you that that's an option. We grow the mini romaines and we grow the mini bibs. The minis seem to really work with our market, and it works for us. But a lot of people like bag lettuce. And by bag lettuce, I mean a salad mix or so on and so forth. So this is actually free seeds from Baker Creek, and it is a real nice lettuce. We've grown this in the past. It's Merlot. This is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous cut and come again lettuce. It does form a head, but it's more for cut and come again. And then we have another one, a Lola Rosa, that's very similar. And then I've got some varieties here that are more summer oriented than winter oriented. It's because they handle the heat better, so we won't use those seeds. And then I have a Skyphos, which is a red butterhead. Beautiful. You have to check that out. That's a beautiful, 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 beautiful one. And as you can see, I've got several packets of it, so I definitely like it. Or we do. And then I have a new Red Fire. This is a heat tolerant, but also I'll grow this in the winter. And then I have a Alkent Candace, and that's another red butterhead variety. And then we have our pelleted seeds. I don't know if you've ever dealt with pelleted seeds. If you know anything about them, you find one that's open so we don't grab one. And if there's not one open, we'll just open one. Should have Cherokee open. And I do. So I've got Cherokee open. So these are our pelleted seeds. I've got some Tropicana there that I'm going to be planting later today. So, get a couple of them out there. I'm trying to sew them. I'm not sure if you can see that. So, there is our pelleted seed. Now, the pelleted seed makes planting easier. You catch it on sale. Sometimes it's just as cheap, but usually it runs about twice as much money. If you're using a seeder though, it is basically, in my opinion, a must, an absolute must if you're using a seeder. But on a home garden scale, you're probably going to be sowing all this by hand, so it won't be a must. They got little handheld tools that make your life easier. I do not recommend direct sowing in most climates. Your seeds will blow away. You won't keep the ground the right moisture. I really like starting in trays. Now these are a little bit fancier trays. We have some basic trays too. This is generally what most of our stuff is planted in, is these right here, this style tray. I got all different sizes of them. This is probably around a 128. Anyway, I won't bother, but so the larger the number is, these are a 10-20, so it means it's 10 inches this way, 20 inches this way. And so if you have a 72, that means there's 72 holes in this. Well, you can imagine 72 holes will be bigger holes in order to fill up the same 10 by 20 space. So same thing with this, is probably a 128. Like I said, I'd have to pull my tape off to see we've covered it up. But this is probably a 128. Of course, I can do the math too, but we ain't gonna bother doing it on camera. So 128 means my holes get smaller. Then we have 200s, we have 231s. We have, this is around a 144 that I got right here in front of me. We have quite a few. We've got 288s. Anyway, we got a lot of different sizes, and we got some 50s. 50s are handy for big transplants that you want to put out in the garden. But lettuce in general is real good around the 128 to 144, even up to 200. 200 starts to get a little smaller than what I like for lettuce, but you can do it. So I like it around this size. Now, like I mentioned, there's things that you can buy that make this easier. For most people, I like to just do it from the package. So we're going to work with this Baker Creek Paris Island romaine lettuce. Because who doesn't like romaine? And if you haven't done it, take you a romaine, especially the minis. The minis work great. And make you a what word would be for it? What I would call a non-prepared type salad. So you're not breaking and cutting up your lettuce. You're putting your stuff on your lettuce, like bacon, not that fake bacon bit stuff. Actual bacon. Cook you some bacon till it's nice and crunchy, and then crumble it. So crumble you some bacon on it, put you some cucumbers on it, a little bit of diced tomatoes. I like to really cut my tomatoes up pretty fine when I do it this way because it seems like it makes the eating more enjoyable. And put your favorite dressing on top of it. I'm torn nowadays. I really like ranch, but I'm also really into the spicy type dressings, srirachas and so forth. So torn. Like Thousand Islands years ago, lost my taste for it. But anyway, so I take my package, turn it up on its side, and tap my seeds like this to plant them. And if you're real careful with what you're doing, you can get basically one seed at a time out of the package. Now, you can pick these out of your hand, but unless you're better than me, my hand cramps so bad by the time I'm done, I couldn't hold on to a cup. So, if I take and do it this way, it doesn't seem to hurt my hand. And I know there's faster ways. And like I mentioned, pelleted seeds. And you can get a seeder that will seed these trays and drop a pellet in each hole. I don't have a seeder. My seeder is me or my wife Tiffany, the amazing Tiffany. And if you get to where, like right there, it got to where there's a clump of them wanting to come out. So I just go back, shake them all back down to the bottom, and start over again. I can usually get 2 or 3 rolls before it decides it wants to shake out more of them than I want. And if you drop 2, it's not a big deal, because if they both come up, and if you got new seeds, good quality lettuce seeds will germinate. We rarely have more than 3% not come out. But if more than one drops and they both do germinate, you can always just pull out one. It's not a big deal. Now, for the sake of this video, I am not going to make you all watch me seed this whole tray. You get the point. And then all you need to do, and I am out of them in my little, out of dirt in my, I keep some dry dirt, or not dirt, but seed starting mix in my scoop, and I'll come back and just lightly sprinkle that over top of it, and then I can take my hand and smooth it out afterwards. Now, I don't like getting the dirt seed starting mix above the top of the tray, because then your plugs want to stick together when you go to pull them out. That's not the end of the world, but when you're planting a few thousand things of lettuce, in our case, that can become A horrible, horrible situation. Oh, and if you wonder what this fancy scoop is that we use for our soil, these are feed scoops, like for chickens or horses or pigs or whatever you're doing. These are feed scoops. And we had them with our chickens, and so they naturally migrated to doing our seed starting. And so, folks, you see how easy this is. So I hope you'll try a tray at home. I hope you'll give it a shot. Try to feed your family something. And we'll be doing some videos on ways for you to build your own little thing at home, a little bit more smaller than what we do and budget conscious. I do recommend, if you do any type of a greenhouse, go ahead and spend the money to buy actual greenhouse plastic. It'll hold up much better. You can use the stuff from Lowe's, but keep in mind that that clear 6 mil, you want the 6 mil, not the 4 mil or the 3 mil. You want the 6 mil, and that's 6 mil is the thickness of the plastic. So the bigger the number, the thicker the plastic. So you want the 6 mil. The other stuff won't be lucky if it lasts a year. But the 6 mil, you can usually get a couple of years out of it if you're good with the way you attach it. The wire it'll last a couple of years, where greenhouse fabric on a small scale will last 3 to 7. Ideally, we're shooting for 5 is what we're hoping on greenhouse fabric. But it just works much better. The light transference is better. Everything about it is better. So, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it has been enlightening. Oh, and then once you get, before I shut this video down, or before I get Tiffany to shut this video down, what you want to do is, once you get this covered in soil, and some people cover them in vermiculite. I was too lazy to go get vermiculite, and we don't normally do that anyway. But once you cover this in your seed starting mix, a very, 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 very thin layer for lettuce. You want to water this in real good. So take it to your watering station, your sink or whatever, and you don't want water that pours in. So if you've got a sprayer in your sink that don't put out a lot of pressure, that's kind of ideal. Water it in, and then water it in again, and then water it in again over 10 minutes or something. Water it several times so it gets good and saturated. It's ideal once they germinate to bottom water to keep them going. We'll do a video on that too. We'll get Tiffany to do that video because she does most of our bottom watering. But once they germinate, which is once they break the ground and you see them, then bottom watering starts to work out very well. And we'll do a video showing you. Actually, Tiffany, would you bring us our flashy trout lettuce and let's let them see that? Because we've got some lettuce that we seeded out. I can tell you when it gets here because we should have a date on the tray. But we seeded out that is ready to go into the greenhouse or the tunnel today, as a matter of fact. So Tiffany has brought us our flashy trout.
And Merlot.
Oh, it's got Merlot in it too. It does, don't it? Mm-hmm. So flashy trout and Merlot. So this is the flashy trout. This pretty, that's why they call it flashy. It's all speckled like a trout. And then the Merlot is on the end. So that's what I'm getting ready to plant that I told you all. And these were seeded. Do you see the date?
11/15.
So these were seeded in the middle of November. And we could have pushed them a little faster, but we didn't. So these are ready to go out. So Tiffany will probably be planting these maybe even today. So once we get these in the ground, they'll start growing faster. And we're going to do some videos on row covers and stuff like that so that you can grow your product even faster and do a better job to feed your family. So this will show you how to seed your seeds. Come back for the rest of this series and we'll work on other seeds, and we'll work on showing you how to grow it outside as we head into the new year. So thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our videos. It really helps us out. Thank you.